Welcome to the Dreams Portal, the podcast about dreams, dream interpretation, symbols, and lucid dreaming. This podcast is a production of Everyday Crystal Magic. I'm your host, Ileana. Let's talk about the meaning of your dreams. So far we have had so many interesting conversations with Helen, and we are back in the second part of this podcast of how spirit comes up to dreams. Helen, thank you for your patience and welcome back.
Thank you, Ileana. Thank you. It has been an honor with the first part. As I said, thank you so much. This is a category and a subject that just I've loved since I was a child. And so being able to sit here and discuss and learn, from someone else, I am just enjoying this. So thank you. Thank you. Ready for part two.
All right, let's continue.
Excuse me just one second. We're gonna have to remove Mr. Cupcake here.
Oh,
He's
okay.
getting a little too excited. He's trying to pull cards for you. He was pulling two Kipper cards. Let me check real quick. That's true. Well, I'm gonna have to tell you about these two cards in a minute because he's giving you a little guidance.
Oh,
Yeah, he's you're bringing changes. You're doing new things, new ideas, and as you're implementing, it's going to open the door to even more. So he's definitely saying, follow through, continue on your way with your ideas and thoughts and what you're creating.
oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for that guidance. That's a reassurance. And
Yeah.
talking about this, dreams as a divination tool, which goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning, the Bible episode of Joseph working for the Pharaoh and foretelling what was coming. So that sometimes people call that premonition dreams, prophetic dreams. Have you had those?
Yes. Yes. The premonition dream. Oh, so many. With mine, the majority have been, well, it started with, I want to say I'll take it back. When I first started dating, my premonitions would be who I'd be meeting. When I wasn't even looking for a boyfriend um, or such, it would come in the dream. I would get the description of who this person was going to be, and then I'd meet them. And it would always surprise me that the person I ended up meeting would be who I dreamed. Well, as I got older, um, I dreamt on my first pregnancy, I had twins. And I remember telling my husband, it's like, we're having a girl. And I said, well, actually, we're having two girls. It's going to be twins. I said, and they're very fair skinned, dark hair. I said, and they've got the prettiest blue eyes. They just reminded me of like the picture of Snow White. I said, just that dark hair and those pretty blue eyes. He looks at me and goes, you've got brown eyes. I've got brown eyes. Where are blue eyes coming from? I was like, I don't know, but I'm telling you, we're having girls and this is what they're going to look like. Sure enough, they're born. Dark hair, their hair was black, very fair, and blue eyes. And their eyes ended up changing when they were about 3. Now they have pretty green eyes. But I just like,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
So then years later, I have my second child, same thing. She's going to be a little girl, but this one's going to have brown hair and brown eyes. And she's just going to be, I remember she was just like this little happy baby. And I kept seeing sunshine around her. And sure enough, she was like that. She would wake up in the morning, just giggles. I mean, she never took a nap. She wore me out because I remember taking her to the pediatrician and saying, this child is broken. She doesn't sleep. But things like that, as my children grew up and now they have their own children, I dreamt my first granddaughter. And I remember telling my daughter, you're going to have a little girl. I said, but she's going to be curly haired. She has beautiful brown curls, lots of ringlets. I said, but I don't understand the rest of the dream because they're showing me it was a spotlight on Cameron. I said, but there's 6 other babies around her. Please tell me you don't plan to have 6 children. Not in today's economy. And my daughter's like, what? And because she had not announced that she was expecting yet. And so I would always find out before they were ready to know.
But she knew?
Anyway,
But she
she
knew?
she found out, yes, that she was expecting. And the funny thing is, by the time my granddaughter was born, she had 6 cousins. 6 of my cousins were also expecting over the next couple of months. So she came in a group of 7. And those were the 6 other babies that were with her. I was like, wow. Because I remember thinking, it's like, what do all these babies mean? Why are there so many babies here? But
Wow.
yeah,
Six, which is interesting because again, we tap into another symbol in dreams, the number.
mm-hmm,
And I just did an episode with Abby on symbols in general, and we
mm-hmm,
touch on the numbers. And one major takeaway I hope for our
mm-hmm,
audience is don't get fixated on seeing the actual number. Look at the groupings
yes,
and
mm-hmm,
the elements because it's not it, you're talking, I'm listening, that this dream is about children that were going to be born, but six in numerology is also the parent, the family, love and family. And it was right there as a subtle cue, but
mm-hmm,
it seems like an omen or a premonition of good times, good happy family, the six of cups in the tarot,
mm-hmm,
that garden with the kids and happy childhood memories. Many people assign it the meaning of nostalgia. I don't see nostalgia there.
yeah,
It's that's a moment that happens everywhere, anytime. You had it growing up or not, but you have the opportunity to create a memory with your own children, and then they will create their own memories. So it's interesting that we started this as a premonition dream and brought up the number six.
yes, because it's all, tied in. My mother is the one who passed down that gift of the dream premonitions. She would always know when someone was going to be in trouble because she would dream it, and she would just sit straight up and she's like, call so and so, they're in trouble. So and so is getting ready to pass, they're sick, or so and so just got beat up. They were in a fight, we need to, find them. Are they okay? Everybody, people ask me, well, where did you get that part of it? That part came from my mom. I grew up hearing the tales, her tell me the stories, and seeing it from her waking up frantic because she just saw this dream, to in the middle of the night getting on the phone and alerting people this is going to happen or this did happen, and then seeing the follow through on either it averted a crisis or they were alerted to get help because of this crisis. It's been really interesting
So you
seeing.
brought something very important because it's the next
Mhm.
question that our clients or our loved ones are going to ask. If the dream is a bad quote unquote premonition, how we change it? Because that's as humans that we drive for. I don't want this tragedy to happen most
Mhm.
of the times. So how, in your experience, well, you have two types of experience, the personal and then the client. If this was a client, what would you tell that person?
I believe in being, I tell everyone, transparent. I said, if I have to give you information that may not be comfortable, I'm going to give you the information. I said, I tell them this before a reading. I said, if you're expecting rainbows and butterflies, you came to the wrong reader, because I'm going to give you everything as clearly as I can. The information that comes to me, I feel is important for you to have, the good and the bad. So please, get your pen and paper, take notes, and your follow through is going to be dependent on what feels right for you. My job is to make sure you have the information. And some people are very open to it, and some people are like, I'm not sure I want the bad.
Well, I believe in transparency. I think it's a
Mhm.
disservice to try to
Exactly.
sugarcoat things
Exactly.
or being affected by, I'm gonna say something that person is gonna feel bad. But we're not doing our job here, and we're
I
not
agree.
doing anything good. To me, there's a certain lack of integrity on that.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna leave it that way because I don't want to get
No, go
on
off on
that
that tangent.
path.
That's true, but it is part of life. There's the good, there's the bad, regardless of what field you're in. Nurses don't like having to give shots and doing procedures that may cause discomfort, but it's part of the job.
Which
Yeah.
brings me to another interest. We've been having a long conversation here, and I want to tap in the part of your medical experience. Uh, Dreams that pertain to that, to body parts or conditions, are those, in your experience, Are those symbolical? Are those literal? How were those years for you when you were in the medical profession and you were getting these dreams? That should be interesting.
Yeah, it's funny because as far as dreaming of people passing, for me it was more of a like I could pass your room and sense the change in your vibration. I knew it was, and I explained it to people. You know how you take two batteries and you put the light poles and you feel that
Yeah.
resistance? That's what it's like. I would
Mhm.
feel the energy change, and
I feel
the first time,
the
yeah,
smell of
some
decay
of them,
settles
yes.
in.
Uh-huh. Some of them you do. Um, my grandfather, when my grandfather passed away, he was on the sixth floor of the hospital. I was on the first floor in the lobby, and it came. It's like, oh my gosh, he's passing right now. And I remember hitting the elevator button. It wasn't coming fast enough, and I had my twins with me running up the stairs. I mean, it was just, I knew I had to get there at that moment. I knew I didn't want him to pass with it. And it's not like I could have saved him at that point. It was his time to go, but I just knew. And that was the first time I remember feeling that difference. Now, after that, as far as dreams, I'm trying to think if I've had a dream. No, I don't think I've dreamt. I haven't gotten the message that someone is going to pass. Most of mine are usually within hours to days of them passing. Then they'll come back
Hmm.
and say, I mean, there was one, I know this is going on a different tangent, but live people coming to me in my dreams to let me know they're okay, that they're in a situation, but they're okay.
Oh,
That's a whole different, yeah, I've had that happen.
their higher self
Yes,
saying,
where
"Don't worry, we
they
got
woke me
this."
up. Yeah, it's like, mom, I just wanted to let you know I'm okay. Someone comes to you in the middle of the night and wakes you up and you're seeing their spirit when you're used to dreaming of spirits that have passed, especially when it's your own child doing that to you.
Yes, that's very
Oh my gosh,
alarming.
I must have. Her phone died that night. I called and called and called for hours, and I was terrified. I couldn't go to sleep after I saw her. And she came to me and told me she's okay. And then she comes to me a second time. She goes, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, I love you." Okay, panic. My heart is jumping out of my chest. I can't reach her. The next morning, I tell her the dream, and she goes, "Oh, how did I look? Did you like the outfit I was wearing?" I'm like, "You about gave me a heart attack last night
Oh
doing that." But
God.
I think it's funny how someone here on this earth, live, could come in spirit to you. That's another form
Yes,
of dream to give you that
this
communication.
the
I'm trying to
lucid
think of
dreaming.
body parts. I think,
I did have one many years ago. I can share
uh-huh.
it with you,
Oh, yes.
and I was it was a time of my life that I was having a lot of dreams, but I wasn't happy where I was. My life circumstances. Actually, let me just save time. I hated my life back then, but this happened. I had this dream. And I don't know why because I've been aside from my back injuries, I'm overall healthy. And I
Mhm.
had this dream that there was like a slide. It was a view of a remove. It looked like a picture from a medicine book or something. Uterus with the tubes and ovaries, the whole display, like it's being cut and set on a table, like a
Wow.
dissecting table. And I was like, oh, what the hell? I don't know. I mean, I know it's not me. So shortly after that, I think the next holiday, I flew here to visit with friends, and one of her closest friends, she went through a procedure. Everything was taken out. A woman who wasn't even 40 at the time. A
Yeah.
full blown hysterectomy, ovaries removed, everything. Like, I can picture that being like, I don't know
Wow.
how that procedure goes because I that's not my field, but yeah, all her organs were right there on display. So it ended up being very little.
Yeah, because it's like almost like that's so much of how people identify in femininity, whether they had, it would be the same thing for someone who had a mastectomy. That's part of their
Yes,
feminine identity. And
their
to
identity.
to see somebody, to me, the symbolism would be like losing that part of yourself, not just, male or female, we have two arms, two legs usually,
Yeah.
but specifically to us are the ovaries and the tubes and the uterus. So that's like losing a part of your femininity. you know?
Yeah, and also decay and aging.
Hmm. Yeah, feeling like
Because
it's
yeah,
useless to us now because you've gotten older, things like that.
yes, we're getting older, but no, this was a woman who wasn't even 40 at that time, and she went through all that very traumatic
It
procedure.
is.
I knew her, and well, when I will visit, we'll get together, but I was like, it goes again to the part of, as a dream master, you get these dreams, and I that was many, many years before I had a soul aligning and understood what these things means. But I'm now recognizing maybe I failed my job, that I should have forewarned or better prepare. At that point, when I had that dream, that process was imminent. Whatever medical situation she was having, that was the solution.
Mhm.
But that doesn't keep us from, I don't know, soothing or helping or supporting, maybe.
Supporting, being supportive. Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't even know how to do that. It's not in my skill set.
Well, even as a nurse, you
So
kind of,
sorry.
how do you kind of think comfort measures? I'm sorry this happened to you, but honestly, when they're going through, and I myself, I had a complete hysterectomy in my early 30s. So I understand that, but yeah, I'm trying to think that's just a touchy subject because you think about it, your friends, your support group is usually the same age as you, and for them to fathom all of a sudden that
Yeah,
you're going through so much, it's hard for anyone.
and a woman who wasn't married yet, no children, is
Oh
hard.
yeah,
I can see
yes,
that's very hard
the
because it's
struggle
like the life you have planned for yourself, if that was in your plans, is
taken, it's
how
gone
you
now.
build a new plan if you were
Yes.
so invested in the other. So yeah, those things happen. And going back to the dream where I lost a leg, that also is an interpretation of you lost your ability to move, or your ability
Stand
to be
strong.
quick, your strength, your ability to move forward, that kind of things. I wanted to put that there for people that dream about losing body parts. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. That is going to be the actual losing the body part. Is what that body part, as you will put it with
Yes.
female organs, is because it's your identity, your day-to-day life, or the
Mhm.
kind of life you wanted to build for yourself.
And you even start thinking, the left being the feminine side, the right being your masculine side. Was there something you went through that made you feel less feminine, or something that made you feel a little, less stronger, a little less masculine? You start thinking there's symbolism in there,
Yeah,
you know, there's so
many,
much.
many things. It's just amazing. But yeah, I was curious to see if during your, one thing is you having those dreams in the years when you were in the medical field, and now
Mhm.
having those dreams because you have reframed your work around these other abilities. Is completely different now. That thing about losing a body part, or that body part being diseased, is not that strong, I would think.
Mhm.
Am I
Yeah,
off here?
no, I really think it's the same thing. Rarely do I hear of saying someone saying, you know, um, I dreamt I lost my arm, and you know what? I ended up getting a horrible infection and they had to amputate. I don't think I've ever really heard, too many of that. It's usually something else. Is someone not helping you? Someone not giving you a hand? Is someone you really want? It's asking you to look and reanalyze it, reevaluate what the problem is in your waking hours so that you can address it. It's just giving
Definitely.
you that little extra. But I love, to me, that it's such a broad topic with dreams and what a wealth of knowledge we have to gain from them. You know, whether it takes your mind off of the problems of the day, it was just a happy dream, whether it came with a message, whether it came with guidance or a warning, or you know it's such an important and integral part of our lives. And almost everyone can say, oh wow, I remember this one time I had this really crazy dream. They stick with you, and you think about the ones that stick with you. Why do they stand out? There has to be something a little more in there. There's a
Absolutely.
message. There's a message. But
Absolutely.
I love having dreams where the point of view. where you're like, I know this isn't a dream, but I'm going to go with it, and I know that when I wake up in the morning, I'm more exhausted after having those dreams because I felt like I've been awake all night long
Absolutely.
continuing the dream.
I can relate to that. It's just that point of view. In again, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, you keep asking yourself, well, you said that you decide, you made the conscious decision that I'm gonna go with it. In my case, it's like I'm trying to stay in my lane. So what am I doing here?
Mhm.
I'm still learning. We are going to have definitely an episode on the Dream Master soul specialty because to me it feels like you're going to work another shift. You spend your
Yeah.
day working and you go into another job during your sleeping hours. It's just like
Hmm.
in the morning, can't get off bed. And I don't want to go too deep on this subject because, like I
Yeah.
said, we're going to have an episode on that. But
Mhm.
perspective, point of view is important. Why are you seeing these events? Why are you seeing these people or these symbols or whatever? Don't dismiss it that quick because you
Exactly.
think it doesn't have an immediate meaning to you. If you remember, here's my mantra. If I remember it, it's because it's important and it has to
Exactly. I
be
agree.
something to pay attention to.
I I totally agree. If it stands out to you, there's a reason for it. Just look a
Most
little closer.
definitely.
Look a
Most
little bit closer.
definitely.
So, excuse me. I also say I have a question for you.
Yes.
When have you noticed since I guess like since, like your earliest dreams that you can remember versus now? Have you seen like a progression? Have you seen that the subject matter has changed significantly? Is it still kind of the same?
Oh my God, it's all over the place. It's all
Excuse me.
over the place. My early dreams are those that I can categorize as nightmares. When I was that age, the age you explained when you were talking about your dream in the castle being attacked. But my early dreams was being burnt alive. Yes, yes. I remember that being in the flames and being a child. I remember dreams that everything was dark, absolute darkness, which is interesting because I have dreams where there's darkness now or it's nighttime, like I was just saying, and that doesn't bother me. But as a child, I never had happy dreams as a child. So those started changing when I was close to being an adult.
That's
And
interesting.
and once an adult, they've been all over the place. I have had dreams that are like sci-fi, a lot of details that I remember this dream. And yeah, many of you say, boy, you're so hooked on sci-fi, it's your thing that you can't get enough of that. But it's not that. Again, look at the elements. And
Hmm.
me being on crystals, very rarely I dream of crystals. But in
Uh-huh.
this dream, that's another important thing. Are your dreams had to do something with your day to day, your occupation, or not? Well, the only dream that I remember very strongly about crystals, it was, I want to say, 3, 4 years ago. It was really cool because we were in a city setting, like, said, downtown Chicago with the high
Hmm.
rises. And it was, again, one of those dreams that you know where you are because it's that time in the morning when
Uh-huh.
the light is bright, but it's not noon or not too early. So I will put it right there. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I see this aircraft that are pulling very sharp moves and angles, the kind of G's, and that's a technical term, that this aircraft was pulling, and
Mhm.
that altitude in a city. I found out, like, I was like, whoa, who is flying that aircraft? It's freaking crazy. Putting that kind of move. It was like that thing could maneuver around the buildings and the sharp angles and the ups and downs. It
Mhm.
was so easy. And we go about our business. I was with someone else, but I don't remember. In the city, and we walk into the pilot of that aircraft, and it was a young woman, barely 30.
Wow.
Yes, barely 30. And she had a belt, very in the fashion style of the 60s, like
Mhm.
hipster kind of thing. And that belt had 3 crystals. And I remember that that caught my eye, and I started talking to her because I wanted to make sure that I got the three crystals right. And if I remember correctly, I wrote it. I can go back to my notes, but I told her, is that chrysoprase, chrysocolla, and malachite? And I was very
Wow.
interested in the malachite because malachite draws your eye because of the spots, the
Uh-huh.
eyes, the
Mm-hmm.
black eyes in that beautiful shade of deep
Green.
green.
Uh-huh.
So I was very interested to know why she was drawn, but turns out those crystals control. It was part of the control board of the aircraft.
Wow.
But
It's
she
almost
was
like having her
carrying,
keys on her belt.
yeah, she was carrying those crystals with her and walking around. I was like, oh, is this one of those crazy dreams, feel good dream? It was a feel good dream for many reasons. It was a woman, a young pilot, that there are a lot of them.
Yes.
People don't have that kind of awareness because there's a lot of pilots, military and commercial, and they get trained, of course, at an early age because there are some physical abilities that are tied to age.
Mm-hmm.
So here's this woman, and she's carrying those three pieces. And the fact that there were three, again, we're going by the numbers. You don't see the number three, but there are three crystals. Kind of, if we want to start picking this apart, well, there can be all heart chakra crystals. Not necessarily, because the way I'm seeing this is there are like in the middle of the body crystals. You can
Mm-hmm.
take the chrysoprase, depending on what kind of chrysoprase you're getting. It can be
Mm-hmm.
a solar plexus crystal.
Ooh.
Then you have the malachite as a heart crystal, and you have the
Uh-huh.
chrysocolla for a throat chakra
Ooh.
crystal.
Uh-huh.
So you had that part
Right.
in your energy centers. Those were the three that controlled the aircraft. So anyway, just to throw
I'm just
something
thinking,
there.
your solar plexus, that's your intuition, your gut instinct,
Your
the
gunnings and
heart,
your
you always want
power
to,
and
yeah,
your
you
power.
always want to lead, you want to always, take, love and compassion into it. And your voice, your ability to communicate, that's such a strong combination with those
To
three chakras.
express, yeah, to
Yeah,
express yourself, to express
that's so
yourself.
cool.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. So this was
Yeah.
to your question of the theme of my dreams. So yeah, my dreams are all over the place. It's just
Mine are
insane.
usually happy, upbeat. The ones that I don't like having dreams where I'm not prepared for something. That's a big thing with me. And
Oh,
after leaving nursing, I started having a recurring dream where I was showing up for my shift, but I didn't know which patients were assigned to me because you usually got between 4 and 6 patients. And I hadn't done my documentation because I wasn't aware that the patient in room 301 or whatever was assigned to me. And here it was the end of my shift, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's no documentation for this patient. Those kind of dreams, they would just leave me unsettled. That and the other one, I'm in school, like high school, and I've forgotten where my classroom is, or I've forgotten to bring the text that I'm supposed to have. Those are my basic nightmares, I guess you would say, is not being prepared.
nightmares or alternate scenarios. We're going into another topic here because I do have a dream also, kind of reoccurring too. I forgot
Mhm.
about that because, again, in this, staying in my lane, in this lifetime that I think I'm living, that didn't happen. So it's the dream that I don't graduate from college. And I'm in my last year of college, and what
Uh-huh.
happened that I didn't graduate. And I kept repeating a couple of times, and I said, this is pointless because I graduated and now I'm retired. What is it? But what if that was something that happened in another dimension, or something happened and I decided that, this is pointless. I don't care. I'm not going to go through. I mean, many people leave their
Mhm.
careers when they're very close to get their degree or that next
They
step
do. Mhm.
in their career.
Or get the degree and don't use it.
Yeah, that happens too.
Mhm.
But again, was that a nightmare or a silly dream, or that was a completely valid scenario that your
Uh-huh.
higher self chose in another expression of the
The
energetic
situation.
complex and
Uh-huh.
another expression of your soul. Let's
Yes.
put it that way. Yeah, I'm sure many people have those dreams too, or like the naked dream,
Yes, exactly.
which I think is something that is more cultural based thing. Like, I mean, you're gonna talk about naked dreams in places where people are normally naked
Yeah.
because they're aborigines or
Hmm.
whatever, or in a place that is really hot and in the jungle and your clothing is just the essentials.
Yeah,
Does it
it's just
make
minimal.
sense?
It would make sense in that environment.
You know, now a naked dream, if you're out in the Midwest winter, yeah,
Mhm.
that has a
It-
meaning, and it's not the meaning that people. I would interpret that dream that you're stripped of your bare necessities in the worst time.
you feel
That's
unprepared.
it.
Yeah, you feel
Completely
very
unprepared
hmm
to the
and
point that it can threaten your life. That's
yeah, it
another
is.
take on the naked dream,
Hmm.
not
You're
the
very like
trivial.
exposed, and you're not at you're not at the optimal place in this situation at all. It's like
To
what can be
survive.
improved upon. Yeah, what can be improved upon. Basically, what did you need to get through this? Well, you needed your clothes, your shoes, proper clothing,
Yeah,
heavy coat.
not any clothes. Yeah, how are you gonna survive this? How are you gonna get through this spot before you die
Hmm.
of hypothermia? Going again into that kind of things that dreams are not the literal meaning. I just there was a time that I just got sick and tired of the dream of the naked dream of being embarrassed, and I was like, no, there's more to that.
Yeah.
It's such a cliche. There's
Hmm.
more about being naked. It's your emotions. It's like, or you have no place to hide, or you have to be as you are. And I'm going to borrow this from Doctor Who. There's in the cosmology of Doctor Who, there's this galaxy. I don't know the details. The Whovians out there, please don't come after me because I'm normally good at details, but Doctor Who is not my top sci-fi show. Let me put it this
Hmm.
way. There is this religion, this church, where everybody goes naked.
Oh,
Everybody, because it's it's the come as you are, nothing covering, nothing hiding, nothing concealing. So you are exposed as you are in mind, body, soul. That can be the
wow.
meaning of the naked dream.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to be exposed that way, you don't get to into that church.
You got to be vulnerable. Yeah, you got to show.
Who you are.
Yes.
Who you are.
Wow.
That was the thing. That's what I said. That sci-fi is not about fancy technology and space travel. It's
Hmm.
deeper than that, but that's for another day. I have a
Yes.
playlist in my YouTube channel about why I love sci-fi. That's the naked dream to me. Is what are the circumstances and who are these people that are either seeing for who you are
Hmm.
or who are the people you're hiding who you are from?
I agree because as many dreams as I've had, I can say I've never had the naked dream. And so when you said that sometimes you feel like it might be cultural, I
That's
felt
odd.
vulnerable in other. Yeah, well, I felt like I said, going to school and feeling like I'm unprepared. I don't have the things I need. I take that as my vulnerability dream, or being at work and not being prepared to take care of a patient or something. Those are my vulnerable spots where I came totally unprepared, and okay, now I have to devise a plan to take control again. And, if the consequences are that, I get, reprimanded for this, well, I obviously did not do what I was supposed to be prepared for today. So, that's how I kind of
Wow.
took it. Yeah.
Prepare to perform
Hmm.
in the capacity, in your capacities in front of others.
Hmm.
Perform in front of others. Okay, that's a, I'm gonna put that add to my glossary of dream interpretation. Like if you said, you start getting into this and you build your own glossary of
You do.
terms
And
and meanings.
so much more starts making sense of your dreams, and the symbolism in there, and the recurring, and why you might dream of this but not that. It all starts, it's like Legos, each brick just continues to add to it. Yes, you're back for another.
Animal dreams also. We saw the Helen's pet
Oh
popping
yeah.
in. Animal dreams, spirit. That's another episode that we're going to do definitely because many reasons. People are attached to their pets, or many cultures are assigned spiritual meaning to animals, and still they
Mm-hmm.
do. The shamanic practice has a strong body of knowledge that had to do with animal spirit and animal symbols and just symbols in our everyday life. That's why we have logos because symbols have meaning and symbols
Meaning.
convey information. We have had a wonderful conversation, Helen,
Yes,
and
thank you.
this can continue forever, forever. We had touched on different subjects that are an episode by themselves: premonition, point of view, reoccurring dreams, dreams of cultural meaning, dreams that change as you age, and
Mhm.
all of these are different forms of how spirit communicate with us in our dreams. I thank you so much for this time, and this has been phenomenal. I hope you're gonna be back for another episode. It's been awesome.
It has. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I've loved this list. Like there is so many different, I'm sorry, Mr. Cupcake's going bonkers here. I told you he's loving your energy, but there's so much more to be tapped into and explored with dreams. And I do hope to join you again someday, but I was just honored to be, thought of and included in your guest list. And I look forward to, seeing you grow and hearing all the different episodes that you're bringing.
Thank you, Helen, and thank you, our audience, for staying with us. And stay tuned for another episode of the Dream Portals podcast.